Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be recapping Summer House Season 9, Episode 7. Let's just jump right in. We're still at the pirate party, and Craig and Paige are still in the raft. The conversation kind of ends on a weird note where she says she's going to give him a yearly review and let him know whether or not he's fired. Craig kind of has a weird look on his face after she says that. He either really did have that weird look or it was just an editing trick, but like, you can just tell that like this is just a situation where Craig is making a much bigger deal out of it than Paige. She says in the confessional, she's like, I'm not going away to war. I am going on tour. And like, at the end of the day, like, it's like what Paige is saying. They are in such different places than they were when they first started filming their shows. Like, they're rich and famous people now. And rich and famous people go on tour and they have work obligations. Like, that's just kind of the life when this is your career path. And Craig either needs to get with it or get out.
I've also said that he can come to any tour stop. Anywhere I am, you can also be there. You're my boyfriend. I love Craig, but I've worked my whole life to do something like this, and it's finally happening, and you're gonna stress me out because you don't feel checked in on enough?
Carl's new love interest is kind of nerdy. She's like really cute. I don't know. I like her. I'd like to see more of her. She's really adorable. She tells him that if she had more free time, she would go to magic school. And then she pulls out a deck of magic cards from her purse. And the editing labels them as magic cards. And I'm like, wait, are they like cards that you would use to do magic tricks? Or is she talking about Magic the Gathering? Because that's like deep nerdy. Like when I read magic cards, because my boyfriend plays Magic the Gathering and they just call it magic, so I was like, wait, is she about to go in on Magic the Gathering right now? That's like deep nerdy. I really like her. I think they're very sweet together. Carl invites her to the opening of Soft Bar. I think that's what it's called, right? His non-alcoholic bar, Soft Bar. He's doing like a friends and family event and he invites her. Then Jesse and Sierra have like a hell of a conversation. So, I mean, you know, like they flirt. They've been flirting since the day that they met. Jesse kind of flirts with all of the women. Like he flirts with Paige, he flirts with Amanda, but with Sierra, I think because she's single, the flirting feels different. Like the flirting kind of feels like, oh, maybe something will happen here. Like it's always kind of felt like that. He asks Sierra what West has to do to earn her forgiveness. And Sierra says like they're just coexisting at this point.
We are coexisting at this point, that's fine. But like, if we're not gonna act like he didn't just use me the entire summer last year, like, I'm sorry, but you guys are f***ing nuts.
And then she says that she didn't like West at first, and West kind of like talked her into liking him, which is like, I've never been in that situation, but I have friends who have been in that situation. That is like such a thing when like you meet a guy and like you're sort of mildly attracted to him. It's just kind of like, yeah, whatever, like maybe if we were drunk, like that kind of thing. But then they love bomb you and they make you seem like, oh my God, I'm so interested in you. Like I have to take you out. Like they're flirting with you. They're making you feel like you're the only one in the room. And then they like dump you 3 weeks later. I like know exactly what she's talking about, even though Jesse seems like confused. And then Jesse asks why she didn't give him a chance. And she's like, well, why didn't you try? And then Jesse's like, well, because West called dibs. And then Sierra's like, don't let anybody stop you from finding your wife, Jesse. And Jesse's like, wait, are you telling me that I shouldn't let Lexi stop me from finding my wife? It's like a really flirty moment. Like if I was flirting with a guy at a party like that, I'd be like, wait, this is like a really hot conversation. Like they were like very seriously flirting. And then Sierra's like, no, you guys are practically married. And he goes like this, he goes, yeah. Now Craig and Kyle are in the honesty raft on the tarp. And Kyle is talking about how he wants to get back to how they were. And Craig is like, well, you're the one who made this a thing. You are the one who did this. And Kyle's like, listen, the last thing that I would have done if I was in your situation would be to work with one of my best friend's competitors. And Craig is like, but you're keeping money out of people's pockets by saying that. And like, yeah, I sort of get what he means. I mean, the seltzer industry is such a huge industry. And I feel like I've heard rumors of like Loverboy. I mean, they've also talked about it in the show. Like Loverboy doesn't always do as well as they thought it was gonna do. And it's like, yeah, that's because the seltzer industry is one of the most oversaturated industries. Seltzers and canned cocktails. Alex Earl just came out with a canned cocktail. Like, everybody's coming out with one. So it's like, yeah, I do sort of understand what Craig means. Like, okay, you are keeping me away from so many brand deals and sponsorships by telling me that I'm not allowed to do that. And then apparently Craig texted Kyle and said like, hey, I'm gonna do this brand deal. And Kyle was like, well, wait, can we talk before you sign? And then I guess Craig just decided, he was like, no, like, I'm gonna do this. I'm not asking you for permission. And then Kyle was like Craig said, it's just business. And Kyle is like, well, that's what people say before they do something shitty. I do sort of agree with Kyle. Like, it's just business is such a line that people say when they're like screwing somebody over. I do get why Kyle would feel really sensitive to that, but either way, Craig still wants an apology. And then Kyle says that when it's his business that's being talked about, it makes him feel like they're talking about like him personally. So he took it a lot more personally than he should have. And then he was like, yeah, I'm 42 years old. I really need to work on that. And then they seem cool now. They basically just made up. Then much later, Amanda and Craig are talking. And Amanda is like, yeah, Jesse acts one way when Lexi is around. And then when Lexi's not around, he acts completely different. Like, basically saying like, when Lexi is around, he acts like their husband and wife. And then when Lexi isn't around, he acts like a feral cat. Like, I do sort of see that for sure. And then Craig just calls Jesse over. He's like, why don't we ask him about it right now? And Jesse is like, yeah, it's so weird. Like, there are all of these super hot girls at this party and I can't flirt with any of them. And then Amanda's like, well, yeah, it shouldn't feel weird. Lexi should make you want to change. And then Jesse says something that I think is very revealing. Jesse's like, yeah, I don't know. Isn't there a certain point where you're just kind of supposed to hang up the cleats and just like settle down? And Craig is like, no, like, you don't actually have to do that. I mean, first of all, Jesse doesn't have to do that. How old is he? Like 28, 29? You're a little young to have to do that. But Craig is like, no, that's not what it is. You don't just decide you want to settle down because you feel like you have to. It has to be that like somebody is making you want to settle down. Like, the thought of being with another person makes you nauseous. And I think that was very revealing for Jesse. It's like, how actually motivated is he to like settle down with Lexi? Or does he just feel like he has to? Or is he just like putting on a big act just so he can finally sleep with her? And then Jesse's like, oh, well, I just had like a great conversation with Sierra right now. And Amanda's like, yeah, sometimes I feel like you guys are gonna date. And then Jesse's like, well, it's only been friend vibes with Sierra because she dated West. She dated my friend. And then he's like, just really hyping up Sierra. He's like, look at her. I mean, she's got like brains. She's got body. She's so nice. Like, basically he's calling her like wife material. He's like, yeah, I'm a straight man with eyes. Of course I would date Sierra. It's like, yeah, this is stuff we've kind of known, but it's like interesting to hear him say it out loud finally. It's like he's finally giving himself permission to really say it out loud instead of like flirt with her, but then also pretend like it's a joke and be like, oh, haha, I'm not serious, but also I am serious. And honestly, the entire time I'm watching this, I'm thinking like Lexi would die if she heard this. And honestly, if I was in Lexi's position, I would die if I heard this. I would be really, really hurt. It's like, I know they're not together, but they are exclusive, I think, right? Haven't they established exclusivity? So like, if I was exclusive with a guy and then I overheard him saying stuff like this about another beautiful woman in our friend group that he sees and talks to every single weekend, I would be really devastated. Like, I would be really hurt. So this entire time I'm watching, I'm like, when Lexi sees this, she is going to freak. We cut to Lindsay for a little bit. She's like saging her apartment to cleanse the bad energy out, like, of her whole relationship with Carl. She got rid of that ugly couch that Carl broke up with her on. And then she says she's not pissed about missing the pirate party. And then she claims she was the one who gave the idea to Carl in the first place. She's like, Carl is not creative. He can't come up with an idea by himself. I just feel like Lindsay never respected Carl like that. I do believe that she loved Carl, but I do think she always thought that she was better than him and smarter than him. And that's one of the reasons why it didn't work out. It's like, yeah, it's like you can be in love, but you also need respect. And I feel like Lindsay just did not respect Carl like that. This party is lasting such a long time. I feel like it's so rare that a party lasts like practically the entire length of an episode. It was like the last quarter of episode 6, and now we're like over halfway through episode 7, and the party is still going on. I feel a lot happens. Now Jesse is talking to West. Jesse, honestly, this entire season has really been like the facilitator of all the drama. He's always like telling other people what somebody else said. He did it with like Craig and Kyle, and now he's doing it with like West and Sierra. But he tells West what Sierra said about him using her, and this like really upsets West. He's like really, really pissed about this. He's pissed about it for the rest of the night. He's like, it makes it sound like I never cared for her, when like that's not what happened. Like, I did care for her, it's just it didn't work out. Like, is it a crime if it didn't work out? Like, he's getting very, very frustrated. I saw a meme in the Summer House subreddit. It was a tweet that was like, men always say they're fighting demons and the demons are just accountability. That's like West. I saw them say that and they were like, yeah, that's West. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of exactly what it is. Like, West is in a position where he's like, everybody's attacking me. Kind of like Sutton in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. He's like, everybody's attacking me. Like, everybody is preying on my downfall. Like, why is everyone being so mean to me? And it's like, well, because you did this bad thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I genuinely believe that if he hadn't done the New York Times article, this wouldn't be as big of a deal as it is. It was the New York Times article that just really like destroyed any hope of making up with Sierra. That's what makes it look like you used her. It's like, you are using her. You're literally using this relationship to like get clout, and your publicist is like emailing all these publications being like, oh, do you want to talk to West about and talk about his relationship with Sierra? It's like, that's kind of the definition of using somebody for clout. And then Jesse asks him if he would care if he saw Sierra dating, and he's like, no, I'd be super relieved. I'd be like really, really happy. And it's funny because Jesse doesn't say like, would you care if I went after Sierra? He's just like, how would you feel if you saw Sierra dating? So he's kind of like poking the bear, but he's not really like talking about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think West would care if he saw Jesse flirting with Sierra. I don't think he cares about Sierra like that. Like, I think Sierra for him was a quick fling, and he just is not used to a woman demanding respect and a woman demanding to be like, to have her boundaries respected. I think he's just used to having these super quick flings with women and then dumping them. So I actually don't think he would care if Jesse and Sierra started dating. Now Paige and Sierra are talking on the bed upstairs. The party's still going on downstairs. Paige says she's worried that Craig is a secret hater. She's like, every time I become successful, something happens in my career, I have a good moment, Craig gets so pissy. And Sierra's like, yeah, that is the definition of a hater. That is not okay. So glad that they're having this conversation. That is so, so important. That's something that you see a lot, not even just with romantic relationships, but friendships too. This is like a big sister Liz life lesson right now. If you tell somebody good news, one of your close, not just somebody, if you tell somebody who's close to you, your parent, your sibling, your romantic partner, your friend, their only reaction should be that they're happy for you. If it's career success, if it's any sort of success in your life, and you're telling somebody close to you about this, their only reaction should be that they're happy for you. If they try to make it about themselves, if they try to put you down, if they say like, oh, well, it can't have been that hard to like get that accomplishment, it's like really not a big deal. That is not your friend, that is your enemy. They are jealous of you. They do not like you. They do not want to see you succeed. Just a Liz life lesson there. And it's very interesting because this is kind of the first time we're seeing this on Summer House, because you know, Paige is kind of famously very cagey about her personal life, but it's the first time we're seeing this on Summer House. But Sierra in the confessional is like, Paige and I have had this conversation multiple times, which is very, very telling. It's like, yeah, that's just another like point for why Paige was justified in breaking up with Craig. Pretty much the entire house now is talking about Sierra and Jesse's sexual chemistry. Amanda and Craig really want to see it happen. They're telling Kyle about it. Everybody's talking about it. If I was Lexi, this is my biggest nightmare. I really feel for her. I never disliked her. I just think her and Jesse are just like fake. Like, I think they're using each other for clout. But if I was Lexi, I would be losing my mind. Oh my God, watching this would be like a nightmare for me. After the party ends, West and Amanda have a little moment outside. West tells Amanda what Jesse said, like, Sierra thinks that I used her. He gets like really emotional. He's like putting his head in his hands. He's like, I just feel like I've been so nice to her. I feel like I've been nothing but nice. And like, the only thing that went wrong is just that we didn't work out. Like, why is she villainizing me? I want her to stop villainizing me. And honestly, I feel like Sierra has been nothing but nice to him. They had that one fight at the dining table, which makes sense because it was like the first time they've seen each other after the New York Times article. So I don't know. I don't feel like she's really villainizing him. She's talking to her friends about her feelings, which she's like justified to do. And I understand, like, yeah, technically, like, it's all on TV, so it's all being broadcast. Then they don't want to break the fourth wall in that way. But like, I think somebody less mature than Sierra would be doing a lot worse. I think somebody less mature than Sierra would be villainizing him, and then he would actually know what it would feel like to be villainized. And then Jesse and Lexi are talking on the phone upstairs, and he tells Lexi that he hopes they never end up like West and Sierra. And then Lexi's like, no, I think we're very, very different people than West and Sierra. And then Lexi's like, oh, well, you can, so first Jesse tells Lexi, he's like, I had such a fun night with Sierra tonight. And Lexi's like, great, you can have separate friendships with both of them. Wait until she watches back the footage. We'll see what she has to say about him having a friendship with Sierra. Then the guys go to the club. Truly, where do they have this energy? If I was living in the summer house, I would need to be pounding 3 coffees a day to have a party that lasted probably like 4 to 6 hours, considering they're filming. So that party definitely lasted 4 to 6 hours so they could get all their shots. Like the camera crew, not like doing shots, but so they could get all their shots. And then afterwards, you're gonna get ready and you're gonna go to the club. I understand why Paige and Sierra stay in and go to sleep. That would be me. And then Imrul comes back with 2 girls, which is like, I'm just kind of bored of his whole storyline being that he gets laid a lot. It's like, cool, I don't know. Yeah, you're good looking. I would believe that you're a guy who gets laid a lot, but that's not a quality. That's not something interesting. That doesn't teach me anything about you really, other than the fact that you have game, which is like, cool. Like, it's getting boring. It's getting boring with him. And I had such high hopes with him. I mean, I'm not South Asian, I'm Middle Eastern, but the cultures are close enough. So I was like really excited to see him show up, and I thought he was gonna add like a different element to the show, different perspective. It would be really cool. So far, we're just like not really getting anything from him. And it's a little boring, and I have a feeling, probably given the edit that he has this season, the fact that they're not even featuring him that much, I have a feeling he won't be back next year. And then the next morning, Jesse, they're like all talking, and in the confessional, Jesse says that he like went into the room with Imrul to check out the girls who he brought home. And then like one thing led to another, and Imrul basically tried to initiate a foursome, and he told one of the girls to like suck Jesse's toes. Ew. And then one of the girls starts sucking Jesse's toes. You could not pay me $1 million to do that. One of the girls is sucking Jesse's toes, and then you hear like in the, I hate when the clips get like too sex forward. It like makes me cringe. But then you hear Jesse be like, oh, well, I'm hard now. It was definitely like I think he wanted that foursome. Like I think he had to fight to drag himself out of that room for his and Lexi's sake. But that happened, and then they're talking about it the next day. They're kind of hinting at it. Like, I don't remember who, maybe Kyle is West is like, I went to sleep while a foursome was happening. So this is like gonna be a thing. But that's where the episode ends, mercifully. That's where the episode ends. They cut it there, and then they show a mid-season trailer. The toe sucking will come back. The foursome and the toe sucking will come back. Unfortunately, we will hear more about it when Lexi gets back. We're gonna see more with like Sierra and Jesse, and then they show us a little glimpse of the aftermath of the Paige and Craig breakup when Summer House picked up the cameras again and started filming. And then something else that was notable in the trailer is Amanda and Kyle start talking more about their future, and you kind of see their age difference come into play. I'm not talking shit about it. My parents are 10 years apart. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But Kyle is 42, and he's kind of like, I never in my life imagined that I would be this age without children. And then Amanda's like, I honestly do not understand why I would have kids right now. Like, I don't see it happening. Definitely feels like an age difference thing, for sure. Or who knows, maybe she just doesn't want kids anymore, which is also totally fine. But I have hopes that the second half of the season is gonna be a lot juicier than the first. I feel like we're starting off a little slow, but things are getting exciting. I think the second half of the season is gonna be really good. If you missed it, a couple of days ago, I posted my recap of the finale of season 14 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And then stay tuned. I'm gonna introduce like a new video format where I'm deciding what I want to call it, but I'm gonna do like a breakdown weekly of all of the news, the off-camera news that happened in reality TV world during the week. So things that happened with like cast members, breakups, people getting together, drama that goes down on social media, things like that. I want to start making a series about that because so much goes on. So expect that to come in the coming days as well. But in the meantime, I will see you next week for my recap of the first part of the Beverly Hills reunion, and then episode 8 of Summer House, and then that little cute news segment that I talked about. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.